I have never seen a toilet this shape. I think this is a hippopotamus shape. Yeah, I have to say it was very comfortable in comparison to other toilets that I've used. And also, you can tell the poshness of a place by the fact that it has a toilet paper roll in the middle. Most places don't. This place is upscale. Alright, we're starting our day out in Bagan, and it's dirt roads, and we're gonna go somewhere that we can actually take a look over all of the temples and get a good feeling for what we're actually stepping into. Let's do this. Wow. Here's the tower we want to go in. Eric says it doesn't look that old. He's pretty right. But a lot of these things were rebuilt in the 1990s.
We're inside of this tower now, and we're in an elevator.
I pushed the biggest number. Let's see where that takes us.
I think it was 13 though, is the biggest the thing said. That says 11.
Oh, we're gonna see where 11 takes us.
Why are we in an elevator? I'm happy about it because I'm really exhausted right now. But why are we in an elevator here?
Were you gonna walk to the top?
I don't know. This doesn't seem...
Wait, what? The elevator doesn't go to the top, so it's stair time. But it's really kind of cool spiral staircase. That's really hard to show in this confined area. Just watch Eric's feet spiral. Thank you. Spin, girl. Okay. Bingalaba. Wow.
This is incredible.
How many laps have you done?
So Bagan used to be a capital of an empire that was in this region. And like in the 1200s, I think, maybe before that, 1100s, 1200s, they spent 250 years building thousands of these stupas and temples as the area converted from Hinduism to Buddhism. And for a multitude of reasons, like partially maybe because of Chinese, partially because of Mongol invasions, partially because of earthquakes and just weathering and everything, the city had sort of crumbled. And in 1975, I guess the tourism, like they realized, whoa, this is be a great place for tourism. So they started rebuilding all the temples that had fallen apart, and like they rebuilt a lot of them. And apparently they kind of didn't do it like accurately, like they didn't do it with like archaeologists. They did it with people that were like, ah, this brick looks like it probably goes here, this one was probably here, this piece of art probably should go here, and like it's not really authentic anymore, but it's still a pretty cool site. Like, I mean, Disneyland can still be awe-inspiring, I guess, right? So this is still really cool. These planes have got like thousands of these stupas sticking up, and it's just a really nice view from up on top of this tower. So with the ticket that we had to pay to come up in this tower, they gave you let you sit in this nice restaurant with these giant windows that overlooks everything. We're on the 9th floor. The top is 11, so it's kind of toward the top. And they also give you some complimentary high C. Like seriously, it smells and tastes just like high C. Authentic stuff.
Best way to skirt the metal detector? Just don't go through it. Why is that metal detector here? We're stepping into our first Bagan temple. And we've also been touted by our first Bagan tout, which was pretty easy, just walk away. All the temples here, I mean most of them, are going to have a large Buddha inside.
It looks like it was put in here like last week. Like the way the paint is and everything, maybe they just refurbished it.
Maybe. Buddha's gotta look good. We went to this temple, what's it called? It's called Non-damnya.
Perfect pronunciation.
Yes. Faito. And we came here because it's supposed to be some nudies up on the wall. They were really disappointing.
Some French guy in the early 1900s said it was like the most vile thing he ever seen, which basically means he's never seen himself without a shirt on, because that's about all it was.
Yeah, it was really disappointing. There's a lot more vile things going on now, so.
I think right now, me wearing this helmet is more perverted than what I saw inside that temple.
Yeah, it was. One of the controversies that they're having over like reconstruction and redoing things here at Bagan is having the paintings that are on the walls looking natural and weathered the way that they should be, or being repainted and retouched to give them more life. And I don't know where I stand on this, because either way it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, historians may see it one way, art people might see it another way. The weathering to me looks a little bit cooler. It makes it feel ancient. It makes it feel like where you're standing is important. When you look at the repainted stuff, it makes it feel childish. It makes it feel like we could just do this if we wanted to. As opposed to these people spent their lives doing this, spent centuries doing this and making it what it is. And you know, just brush it up with like some sage green and get my watercolors out, and you know. So I kind of think, I guess now I've made my decision. I'd rather see the weathered stuff than see the repainted stuff.
Most of the temples here are like of a red color, kind of because I think the ground is a red color, so when they take the bricks up out of the ground, they're red. But this temple is a striking white color.
So some of the roads don't necessarily look like roads. They look like sandbanks.
This is terrible.
The temples are literally everywhere. When riding on these roads, you have to watch out for traffic. That's an amazing look at that, wow.
Ingalaba.
I don't know if he speaks Burmese.
Konnichiwa.
안녕하세요.
Hello.
Hola.
Swamp. I hate this loose shit. It's horrible.
Beltar doesn't like the sand.
No, I don't like the sand either. Beltar and I have the same opinion.
Gotta get my lean on. Not sure if I actually recorded this earlier, but when we're riding like this on the soft dirt, I gotta lean back really far.
Lean back.
Lean back. Lean back. Lean back. So that we can get more traction with the back wheel and also give the front wheel a little relief from trying to dig in so much. I think I see where all the dogs are coming from. Right here.
You got a dog factory up at this temple.
Dog factory. Oh, there's another. Maybe other people have heard this phrase, but I've never heard. I know spaghetti straps, but I've never said spaghetti blouses. So no spaghetti blouses. This temple is quite actually intimidating. It's very big. It's very sculptured. It's really, really beautiful. The paintings on the walls are rather big here. What? Whoa. Wow. And they almost look more like graffiti than they do look like an old painting. If that gives you any size equivalent, it's quite large. And there's tons of them all over the walls. And there's Buddha always waiting for you around the corner. Oh, here's a reclining Buddha. He's a big guy.
That's the Buddha I'd be right now.
That's the Buddha you'd be right now?
Just lay down.
All right. It's getting a bit creepy up in here. It's dark. And it's apparently wetness. Yeah. It's getting brighter.
We just had a group of boys as we were getting on our motorbike who were impressed with my height and they wanted photos. Quite a few, not a lot. How many? 4 or 5 photos?
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. It didn't turn into I thought it could have spun into an hour-long photo session, but it was really only about 3 or 4 minutes. And they were just, I mean, boys that age usually aren't that active with foreigners. Usually they're just kind of into their own thing. So here it's kind of fun actually. They were fun. We're gonna climb up this thing. I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Let's see. Just gonna need to slow bot like 3 stories. That's all.
I'm tired, man.
Haven't you learned from the slow bot?
This is a different situation.
Look at this thing in the distance. That is incredible.
That's where we just were, isn't it?
Yes. We were just there. I'm going to eat this coconut, or drink this coconut, I should say. She could murder me if she wanted to. That thing is sharp.
Where are we at?
Sitting on top of a stupa.
Like quite a ways up, actually. Like, if you look down, it's quite a ways down there. And what are you doing?
I'm drinking coconut.
Where'd you get it?
From some lady who was hacking away at stuff.
What is amazing about Bagan is how many of these stupas and temples and monuments, and I'm not really sure the real word, there are here, as opposed to like each individual one. And I compared it like in Cambodia, what's it called?
Angkor Wat.
Angkor Wat. And there's quite a few temples there, but nothing like this many. But each individual one in that case is very unique and different, and they feel individually special. These do have a little bit of individual personality, but it's not nearly as distinct. And the amazing thing about it is that they are all like one continuous thing. Like the whole area is just a bunch of so many of these. And that is, to me, what is quite impressive. Do you agree?
Yes, and I have a lesson to teach. Okay, so I spent some time not really researching, but learning a little bit. Okay, so here we go. This right here is a temple. It is architecturally very pretty, and it holds more. I think you can get inside it, I think, is a big part of it. Okay, this little rounded thing that's poking up out of the ground, stupa. Gold thing over here, temple. Bulbous thing right here, stupa.
So the gold thing is a temple?
Yeah, the gold thing is a temple, I think.
That's not a pagoda?
Dang. And then you bring the word pagoda into it. I understand temple and I understand stupa now.
I think that's a pagoda.
I don't understand what a pagoda is.
And they have another special word for it, but I don't remember what it is.
Paya.
Paya. There you go. What's a paya?
I don't know.
What's a monument?
I just know temples.
Are there monuments here, or is that's a Western thing?
Monument is just something. It's a word that describes all things that are standouts. It's a monument.
So
it's all monuments.
I'm a monument? Is that what you're getting at?
You might be a monument. Do people come and look at you?
A whole bunch of dudes just came and looked at me and wanted my picture.
And indeed they did.
This is a shot of the white temple that we saw earlier. Kind of shows how unique it actually is. And this is the watchtower that we were up in earlier. It's much larger than anything else on the horizon.
Welcome to Katie and Eric TV. We're currently on location at this pagoda. I mean, this stupa. We just watched the sunset.
Temple?
No!
So we just climbed up there.
Yeah. This is the same stupa we came to earlier, and we shot some footage of just all of the temple. Yes, this is a stupa.
It's not gold. What's gold? What's a temple? What's the gold one?
A pagoda.
Oh, okay.
I did call it a pagoda.
Okay. I'm sorry.
We're gonna have to shoot this over again,
We're
aren't
not.
we?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so we went to the top. We watched the sunset with a bunch of other people. And it was relaxing. I need some sandals.
I had a pizza for dinner, and so far, it hasn't killed me. I'm very happy.
Where are you?
We are at Old Bagan, so it's like a walled-in city. So Bagan is actually like an area with a bunch of different plains, and the old city is a walled-in section of that is bordering, I think, the river, right?
I have no
I think
idea.
it borders up against the river in a little area. So it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like Jerusalem, where it's like there's a section that's like closed in that was probably built that way a long time ago to stop people from coming in and, you know, taking over. But maybe it was built in the 70s like everything else around here, who knows?
70s were so good.
So as you walk in, like this is like, you know, 30 feet past where I made the last video. As you walk in, it's just like Toutsville, where they've got lots of trinkets and stuff for sale. But as is all the other touts in the country, they're not really aggressive. Like it's really, really, really relaxed compared to how it can be in other countries. So it's not such a big deal.
We are at Ananda Phato, which is a temple that houses probably one of the larger Buddhas here in Old Bagan. It's pretty impressive. That's got to be at least 3 or 4 Erics.
I think it's bigger than that. I think you're looking 5 or 6.
Well, you're bigger than him now.
Oh, no way, yeah.
There we go, just blocking him out.
In Bagan, there are a lot of domestic tourists, which is kind of surprising actually. You come to places like this, you know, similar types of sites in Cambodia or Thailand, and 99% of the tourists are Westerners or, you know, people from outside of that country. And here, there's quite a few people that are actually locals or from the local region. And they've come on tour buses or they've come in big trucks together and they're going around touring the sites just like all of the foreign tourists are. And I didn't really expect that, to be honest. But I guess seeing as it's sort of a religious site as well for them, it kind of makes sense. It's like a functional thing for them still. So I didn't think that would be a thing.
When tourism comes and takes over Myanmar, that's probably going to change as to how many locals you see at these places.
Or at least the proportions will change.
Yeah.
Because right now it's like we are greatly outnumbered by domestic tourism.
And it also makes it seem more genuine that where you are is really somewhere special, as opposed to like Cambodia and Thailand. It doesn't feel special anymore. It feels just like a tourist attraction.
I mean, in some
this
cases,
actually feels special.
In some cases, they do feel special, but a lot of them are just so overrun with white people that it's like you can't see that connection that the locals might still have with the site anymore. And here, it's very evident and very aware. I mean, monks just walk by.
Do you call women monks monks?
Yeah, I don't know.
They have a special name.
Monkettes. We just watched.
I don't know if we should go there.
Let's
just insult them.
We just watched some Chipmunks movie, and the girls were called the what? Chipettes, right?
The Chipettes.
Well, there you go.
Each one of these little windows contains a little Buddha. Some of them are more imprisoned than others. This Buddha has the arms outstretched, showing no fear. Eric's being a really big trooper. He still doesn't feel well. I think it's probably going to take him a week or so to recuperate from being poisoned. But he's still driving that motorbike. He's still out here doing everything. I'm really happy. Restoration is definitely under effect in many of these places, and chubby lions are overseeing it. Make his face. No, come here, come here. No, come here. Come here.
What?
The other side. Going from Ananda Temple to the gate of Old Bagan, and it looks as though tourism is really going to take over just this stretch of road. They are starting to build a massive, massive market here. And yeah, it's quite wide. And I think tourism is really making this possible. Wow, I've never seen the beginning of a market. I mean, I've seen markets, lots of markets, but I've never seen this, where they're starting to realize that they have a draw, they have a pull, and people will come and people will have to walk through this, and they can make money off of it. All right, so we've gone into the outer wall of Øigarden, and we're standing here, and there's some dogs coming up.
He has really human eyes.
Yeah, it's the blue. It's the blue. Okay, so we're standing outside of the Golden Palace, and we had talked earlier about like how people call out this area on being Disneyfied and not really keeping to the traditional ways and just trying to make this a place to come and see out of spectacle as opposed to tradition. So this is outside the Golden Palace, which was rebuilt in the 1990s.
Øigarden Golden Palace services, day bazaar, souvenir shops.
They've just put up these gigantic posters showing like what can be done on the inside of the palace walls. And it really just feels like Disneyland. Let me show you this picture. Like, this looks like Asian Disneyland. It almost looks Japanese. Look at the top of that building. This looks like nothing we are seeing outside in the real world of Øigarden. So we're not going in. It's $5 per person to get in to go see something that isn't real. So we're not going. So here's the top, and again, it looks really, really Japanese, Chinese. It doesn't look Burmese. This is Bupaya. Bu means gourd, and obviously that looks like quite a gourd. And it's on the river, so we're gonna go check out the view.
It's pretty cool. Nice big river. Looks like they're bringing a bunch of pots and stuff. Or taking a bunch of pots, I'm not sure. Looks like maybe they're leaving, coming. Oh, they're probably coming on the boat, or on the truck. So this is the shipping port of Øigarden.
This sign says, "Nuclear catastrophe overcome pagoda." What? So we're gonna go check it out. We gotta go down this weird little road here. I'm assuming there's gonna be no touts at the end of this one. This is not listed on anything. We're gonna die at the end of this, aren't we? Oh, some abandoned cars. They've probably been murdered. Yep, definitely murdered. It's starting to feel like a horror film. This is looking like a nuclear something struck here.
This is looking more like somebody's house.
Yeah. Yep, I'm thinking this might be a bust.
This is not a thing I think we thought it was.
But they advertised.
They did. Maybe we missed it. Maybe it's like tiny.
When things get nuclearized, they get smaller. And these stairs also just go to the yard. So it's that thing that nobody's at.
I don't feel good.
Oh, I thought you weren't gonna stop. Am I just gonna hurl myself onto the bike?
We don't need an injured you.
Yeah, that's true. So we're still inside the walls of Øigarden, and we've come to the only Hindu temple that still remains here in Øigarden. It has quite an interesting history because when they changed over to Buddhism here, the king decided that...
What are you selling?
So these kids are going around and they are selling postcards that they've drawn themselves And while it's really cool that they're doing artwork and going around and selling it, it also states a really sad example that this country is kind of not caring about their youth. Their youth is sitting around temples trying to sell things as opposed to sitting in classrooms learning about things. And it's kind of sad. And as Eric stated, like, it's just basically child labor. Like, these kids are, I mean, they're coloring. I don't think the labor is too intensive, but they are going around and trying to sell these things exhaustively, I think.
And I mean, they're staying out of school. The problem is that they're staying out of school.
Yeah.
This is not an after-school activity. This is their gig. This is what they do.
Yeah.
You know? So it's keeping them from educating themselves at the expense of, you know, creating something and generating revenue.
Alright, so we're still here in Old Bagan, and we've come to the last Hindu temple that exists, I guess, in all of Bagan. And... No, thank you.
No, no, this one.
Maybe you? Shooting this video has proved a lot harder than I thought it was going to. Alright, well, it was a Hindu temple, and inside the Hindu temple the king had taken all of the previous religious artifacts. People used to worship knots here, which were like god-human beings, which is a weird thing to say, but that's what they used to worship before Buddhism came here. And the king stuffed all of the artifacts of this previous religion into this building and imprisoned them.
I guess also Hinduism, like Hindu things as well.
Obviously, yeah,
Hinduism
I guess.
was prevalent in the area, so all of those things together.
And squished it into that one temple so that it would go away.
This is a good shot of a more traditional looking temple and that brand new Disney-esque golden temple in the background. Kind of shows the difference. But to be honest with you, the thing that's in the closer view, I'm not sure if that's new or old either, so maybe I'm being fooled. What we're watching is a group of guys playing a game that we've seen them play this in other countries in Southeast Asia. In Thailand it's called Takro, and we just asked a fellow here, and this is apparently called Baichochin here. And they're playing with like a woven ball, like this. And this one appears to be made of plastic, but sometimes they're made out of like wood. And it's basically like volleyball with your feet and your head. You can't touch it with your hands. So if you touch it with your hands, it's out, the other team gets a point. And you have to kick the ball back and forth. And some of the things these guys do is pretty impressive. Like, they're quite athletic. And I've seen people like flipping upside down, kicking the ball and doing madness like that. So it's pretty interesting. Looks fun. Unsurprisingly, this Hindi-style temple is now full of Buddha stuff. And there's something really peculiar happening. Like the center of the building is closed off, and they have Buddha displayed on CCTV.
So apparently you can walk around the side. This is Buddha's hand that we're going around right now. Whoa. That was a very tight squeeze. And then you come out at another Buddha.
What's wrong?
I don't like birds. We're at the Manuha temple. Yes, it's a temple. And we just read before walking through this area that one king was kidnapped and trapped here until I assume he died. Birds. And there are 3 seated Buddhas in here, and they're all like larger than life and very, very big. And they're tucked into these small spaces, and it almost feels entrapping how they are in here. And I think that really shows how the prisoner, the king, must have felt. And maybe the birds attacked him, and I'm feeling that now. As you walk through the areas here in the shrine, going from one section to the other, you have to walk through these tight corridors, which really are kind of representative of that idea of being entrapped and not being able to get out, and a claustrophobic feel almost. So this is so far has been my favorite temple. Just the feeling that it invokes, knowing the backstory, is pretty nice. Okay, I'm leaving. You can't go that way. You have to go through the door.
Let's go through the door.
I don't want to go through the door.
Why? What's gonna happen?
Birds.
Just stand in the doorway.
You go first.
Where are the birds?
Outside.
Are you ready?
No.
They don't care. No problem. Okay.
They're in front of me.
What?
Funny. Not funny. Always not funny. More tight corridors. This is the Buddha's feet. You can turn them.
Sounds like a giant reclining Buddha.
This is the grossest feeling floor I've ever touched.
Yeah, it's like really cheap AstroTurf.
Instead of being soft and squishy, it's crusty and hard. I never touched their coat before. It said that he looked quite sad from this angle, and that you could go up on the roof and look down on him. But you can't go up on the roof and look down on him, and he actually doesn't look sad at all.
Looks a little sad in the eyes.
I guess I only looked at the mouth. Diesel vehicles tend to spit out little particles into your eyes, and it's really, really annoying. Considering that I didn't bring my glasses this trip, most of the time this doesn't bother me, but this trip, I'm on the same level as Eric.
That's another, like, in addition to not being able to fucking breathe.
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard Eric, but he said you can't breathe, as well as you're getting little bits of trash in your eyes.
Do you have a bot that can have a light on it?
No,
What are you gonna do?
I don't know. Just gonna go into this scary ass building and see what happens.
It's getting kind of dark too.
Yeah.
And this little old lady, like, in the creepiest way possible without actually trying to be creepy, just like hobbled past us and unlocked this dungeon for us to go into. So, this thing. And I think it's about to get really dark. She gave us some flashlights. That was very nice of her.
And there are headless Buddhas.
Yeah.
Your flashlight's way better than mine. And very small, narrow passageways
Yeah. And
to go
like,
through.
go stand next to it for perspective. There you go. I don't know if I will fit through there. Really spooky.
No head.
Something bad happened in here. It shows before preservation and then after preservation. I have it at dead end and it's pretty spooky. Katie. Katie.
Man, Beard's flashlight is so much brighter than mine.
Come with me.
Why is the scaredy cat guy have the...
Come with me.
I'm coming.
Turn off your flashlight.
No.
Turn off your flashlight. Do it.
How do I do that? It's off.
Are you ready?
Oh.
Can't turn it off.
Gotta go one more.
How is it?
It's pretty terrible.
It's pretty dark in here. No, turn it back.
I don't want to be in the dark.
I want to take your flashlight from you and you can navigate your way out in the dark.
Aww.
Wouldn't that be fun?
No. It's off. How are we doing? Oh. At least it's like really clean. Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah, I can't do it either. It's too weird.
This is scary. That was definitely one of my favorites as well. Just for the scary factor of like going into like a little, it felt like a tomb, and then all the headless Buddhas and stuff. And I could care less about the paintings on the wall because who knows when and how they were actually done. Which is sad. But anyways.
It looked like the restoration was kind of legit though. Like,
Yeah.
because it did show you, like they hadn't completely made it look ridiculous. So.
Yeah. It was really fun just going in there and kind of just walking around and definitely turning off the light and then trying to get out of the room. Yeah. It didn't last very long, but that was fun. So I'd say that's number 2 on my favorites list. Number 1 was the one we went to earlier. That I
The
could
giant Buddhas.
squeeze past the Buddhas. That was cool. So Eric has to eat shitty food.
I have a margarita pizza with no cheese because last night I had one of these with cheese and bad things happened.
So he gets shitty food, I get big, exciting food.
Look at this thing. Look at this. So she's got like, this is like a brick oven thing they brought out to the table, and it's got charcoal bits like on the inside, and it's up here is more charcoal, and it's cooking mutton and pineapples and peppers and tomatoes in some sort of sauce that we don't know what is yet. And then
So, Danton had asked if like we go to high-end places, and it suggested that we go to a high-end place somewhere here in Myanmar. We tried to go to that French restaurant. It didn't work. And when we get back to Yangon, we aren't gonna have time to go to that French restaurant. This is literally the most expensive thing that I've ordered here. It's $6. But it's really classy looking.
it is really classy looking. Yeah. And the restaurant's really classy looking too.
All right, so Eric has been sick for several days, and he goes to bed around 7:30. And yesterday, I walked up and down the streets of Bagan, trying to look for anyone who wanted to be friends, and that didn't go so well. I also hadn't committed too much to the idea. Today, I committed to the idea. I left. Eric, he's taking his shower. He's gonna get to bed around like 7:30, and I decided today, gonna make a friend. And I walk down the streets. Nobody will make eye contact. Like, I guess this is just something that is part of traveling as a foreigner. Like, people don't make eye contact with each other. They don't look at each other. And I can say this about myself, like, when you travel like this, you kind of want it to be your own trip. And in some ways, when you start talking with foreigners, your trip just starts to sound like how everyone's trip sounds. So you don't really talk that much to foreigners, and it gives you a more authentic feel for your trip as opposed to other people's trips. Because once you start talking to them about their trips, it starts sounding like everybody's having the same trip, and it kind of turns lame. But with Eric going to bed so early, like, I still want to go out and enjoy nightlife, I guess. So my plan was to go to a restaurant, sit down, and I was going to show people this. Hold on, let me get it undone. Hopefully you can read this. It says, "Will drink with strangers." And so I wrote this on the napkin and I was like, I'm insane. I must be crazy. So I wrote it, and the first person that I saw come up, I sat myself by the menu of the restaurant in the frontest table that you could sit in, and I showed it to the first person that came up, and it turned out to be a German dude, and he was like, all right. So he sat down with me, and I could not believe that. I thought whoever I showed this to is just gonna walk away and is not gonna sit with me and talk to me. So Rav, this German guy, sat down, and we ended up like just chilling and drinking for like an hour and a half, I guess, and just about his experiences in Mandalay in Myanmar, and my experiences as well, and what we do for a living. Him back in Germany, he's an engineer. I told him about my job in Japan, and just traveling in general throughout Asia, and it seems like we've been to a lot of the same places, and that was pretty interesting, just to put this little banner up that says, "Will drink with anyone," and the first person sat down, and it was just a really good experience. Eric is asleep. I was kind of hoping I'd be able to tell this story to him and you at the same time, but he'll get to hear this in the morning, and it was pretty nice. I was starting to be really disappointed about the availability of friendship, and then there it was. It was exactly what I was hoping would happen. So thank you, Myanmar. You're supplying all these wonderful things.